Hey everybody, Scott Dion Brown here, and today I picked up my copy of Batman Damned, Book 2, starring Tim Curry. Looks like Tim Curry. Doesn't it look like Tim Curry? Anyway, let's dive in. So I was very happy to pay cover price for this one. If you saw my last video where I talked about Book 1, you'll know that I paid slightly more than cover price. You can watch it if you like, up one of the corners. But since that video, I've set up a pull list at my local shop, and so when I went in today, it was waiting for me behind the counter. So I just finished reading it, and I thought I'd give you some of my thoughts. Maybe they'll help you in deciding whether or not to pick this one up. Batman Damned, Book 2. What do I think? It's pretty good. So let's start with the artwork. Just like Book 1, it really hits it out of the park. Every page of this book is really, really beautiful to look at. Starting with the cover. I wouldn't be surprised if I found out that the artist was influenced by Rocky Horror when designing the cover. Looks really cool. When I first saw the cover, I assumed it was the Joker, but I didn't look at it that closely. But when you actually look at it and see the red and black, you kind of realize it's quite clear it's not the Joker. I don't think that's a spoiler because it's right on the cover, but anyway, the artwork is really, really pretty. It's the same way it was in the first issue. I find myself just staring at each panel, looking at how much detail there is in every single page. I remember when I was a kid, I wasn't that into comics when I was a kid. I read a few Star Wars ones and the odd one here and there, but I wasn't a regular collector or anything. But I remember one thing I always remember thinking was the covers of the books always look so detailed and shaded and three-dimensional. And I remember wishing, even when I was a kid, that I wish that the inside of the book was as detailed as the outside, but it never was. But this book actually achieves that. The detail in every panel is so pretty. It's so nice to look at. Any close-up shots of people's faces, you see wrinkles, you see texture, you see veins. Buildings have individual bricks, there's reflections and the tears in people's eyes. It's just beautiful to look at and really dynamic. That alone, I think it's worth picking up. Same with the first one if you can get your hands on one, which you can, but you'll have to pay a lot for it. But artwork is beautiful. I give it a 10 out of 10. So how's the story? I'm enjoying the story quite a bit. I like the supernatural elements. I like where it's going. I still had some of the same problems I had in the first issue with the narration specifically. The first two books are narrated by John Constantine, and the way they've written his speech it's just sometimes confusing. I find I have to read this one a little bit slower than I do other comics. Like I'm reading Doomsday Clock right now at the same time, and that one reads nice and smooth. I remember Watchmen read the same way. This one, there are times when I sort of just have to stop myself and read through again, like, what is he trying to say here? Specifically the stuff that John Constantine says. I know it's supposed to be a film noir, and so he's trying to speak with clever sayings and interesting plays on words, the way those old films used to be, I guess. But some of them I feel like are a little bit weird. There's one where he goes, so the expression that he's playing off of is focus on the task at hand, but the book says, focus on the task at fist. And it took me a second, like I read it and then I made a weird face and was like, what is that? What is he talking about? And then I was like, oh, task at hand, task at fist, because he's going to use his fists. I get it. It was just a little bit weird to read. Both books so far I've had to read a little bit slower than I normally would be able to read a comic. So that is, I guess, one critique of Batman Damned at the moment. The writing can be a little bit clunky at times, but it doesn't ruin the story for me or anything. It was just something that I noticed. But aside from that, the story is really cool. I'm enjoying where it's going. The action sequences are really cool. It flows really well visually. I also like that the story delves a lot more into Bruce Wayne's past. Other Batman stories, like the other films and things, they only really focus on Batman's past from, walking in that alleyway with his parents and then, the Joker shoots them. So this story gives you a glimpse into what his parents' relationship was like, and also they introduce some supernatural elements in there as well. So it's pretty cool. So Batman Damned Book 2, do I recommend it? Yes, I do. I think it's definitely worth reading. The only thing I find myself wondering now is, we know that after the big controversy with the first book, they not only edited out the Batwang from the first issue, but they also pushed back the release date of Book 2 and Book 3. So the question I find myself asking is, what did they change? And I'm sitting here, I was looking through the book and I was trying to wonder, like, are there whole pages missing, or did they change certain panels? I don't know. Maybe we'll never know. I was trying to sort of speculate what it could be. There's one page toward the end, and if you read it, you know what I'm talking about, where there's the potential where some nudity could be shown. We don't see any nudity, but I wonder if maybe the original version would have had more, possibly. I mean, I don't like that they bowed to public pressure to begin with, but My only hope is that even though they did, my hope is that the changes that they've made are more along the lines of, covering up certain body parts or something rather than maybe editorial decisions about where the story goes. I'm hoping that the story itself is how they intended for it to be. But I guess we'll never know. If any of you have heard anything or know more about what was going to be in the issue and what now isn't, let me know in the comments because I would be curious to know. But I imagine they must have changed something because otherwise why push back the release? But all that aside, Batman Damned Book 2, it's definitely worth checking out, and you should be able to find it in your local comic shop. I don't think the feeding frenzy that was the hunt for Book 1 is around anymore. A lot of the media attention has died down. I still hope this comic does well. I hope that people who picked up issue 1 liked it enough that they picked up Book 2. So check it out if you can get yourself a copy. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm Scott Dion Brown. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you get all the notifications. I'll see you guys next time in the search for justice. Let's do the time warp again.